And I'm going to do hot tip number 2 here, the idea of having a plan for January.
Yes.
The idea of being progressed ahead so you're not coming into the end of the year into this void. And
Yes.
I'm gonna shift topics here a little bit because I'd love to know some thoughts around it.
Good.
End of year, I've really noticed for a lot of people, myself included at times, is that if I haven't had a good year in business for whatever reason, so I'm going to define that, I set out to do $1 million in this example, and it's come to the end of the year, and I'm having to embrace the reality that, look, I didn't do $1 million like I anticipated. It can end up being a bit of a spiral time. Like you can really like beat yourself down, start being really harsh on yourself, and then I've seen business owners like straight on the booze.
Yeah.
Straight to being depressing and miserable, straight to like suddenly becoming very emotional and like snappy and shitty, tearing others down to make themselves feel better.
Yes.
So have you seen that in other experiences? Maybe yourself, Tony, maybe in the people you work with.
Yeah.
But how would you encourage someone work towards that if they're in that situation?
That's a phenomenal question. And I was this guy last year. So I'd achieved a lot. I'd bought 4 investment properties. I'd scaled my business. I had my daughter. And Christmas came around and I was nowhere near where I wanted to be. I didn't have a vision for 2022. I didn't have the vision for the following year. And I just went into a massive downward spiral. I stopped eating well. I stopped exercising. I started drinking. And when I switched off, I switched off. Like I went from grinding in the business to doing nothing. I just turned it off for three weeks. And I was the most emotional, snappy prick you could be around. I made my mother cry. I made my wife cry. I was just like that annoying guy. And you know you're doing it when you're this person, when you're this grumpy, angry, arrogant person, and you do it anyway. And then you feel all this guilt and this shame. So there's 2 ways to get around that. One is to acknowledge that it could happen. Like if you've ever been that person and you're listening to this, like acknowledge, oh my God, that's me sometimes, and be at peace with that. You cannot change the past of this year in business. The only time you should go into the past is to reference it for lessons for the future. To be either grateful for what happened, even if it was not what you wanted to achieve, or to go, cool, what can I learn about this year so that I can crush it next year? When you can take those lessons, so we actually have a process at Empowered Man. We ask, what were the lessons? What were the challenges? What went well? What didn't? We have an entire process. I'd be happy to share it with everyone. It's called a quarterly battle plan. So we reflect on the year that was, and we see what's not working and what is. And then a month before the year ends, we actually plan the following quarter with meticulous detail. We have targets for our health, 3 targets. We have 3 big rocks for our wealth, 3 big rocks for our business, and 3 big rocks for our relationships. There's 12 big rocks. I think my math was right there. We also have 3 things that we're going to stop doing and 3 things we're going to start doing or do more of. So it seems like a lot, but over a quarter it's not. And we basically take these things, schedule them in January, February, March, and we have complete clarity on the quarter ahead. We've taken the lessons and the challenges and used them as power instead of pain to further next year. So now we're able to switch off because we're like, cool, I have a plan for next year. I'm okay to slow down a little bit. I'm okay to like not lose my shit. We got the plan, we got the past used. And then the final piece of this is we actually don't stop working on ourselves during that break. So every one of our clients has got a plan to wake up at the same time, move their body, do their journaling, get things out of their head before they spend time with family. A mistake I made last year was I dropped all my routines. And if you're a successful business owner, you probably have some routines. So why not have both? Why not have a plan for the next year, reflect on the past, have routines throughout. You can still drink and have fun, but you get up on time and you do the right things before you have fun. You delay that gratification. If you can do all those things in tandem, you'll have the best Christmas ever. You'll have the best holiday period ever. Yeah.
Is there any type of different work you would encourage business owners do over this time? Like I must admit for myself, again, I'm just everything on myself today. I'll try and shift into something else.
It's okay.
But for whatever reason, I go reflective, right? I feel like this is the reflective time of year, and it just by the calendar, the environment, the weather, seeing Christmas lights, I don't know what it is, but it triggers off a reflection period for me.
Yes.
And it may not for everyone else, but is there anything you've seen to be in the type of work you would do differently this type of time of year be evident?
Absolutely. Reflection is key, and most of us don't do it. If you think about most business owners, even extremely successful ones who make really good money, we're often in the weeds and we're doing. So the entire year is putting out fires, it's stress, it's anxiety, it's pressure, and those are things we thrive off of. That pressure creates diamonds, sometimes literally diamonds with the cash we make. So we begin to thrive off this pressure and this stress. The problem with that is it destroys your physiology, it destroys your health, and it can really destroy relationships too. So we get to consciously choose to slow down, to speed up at the end of the year. Like we get to choose to be present with family, and we get to choose to reflect, which most of us have not been taught how to do. Keith Cunningham, the art of thinking, is it not? It's how we think. We have not been taught how to think. So the way you think and what we teach in our programs is we sit down and we have thinking time, and we simply ask powerful questions undisturbed. So no phone, no technology, no computer, no notifications, presence by yourself. Put some nice music on and just write down, what did I learn this year? What went well? What didn't go well? What could I do better? What are some things I could change? I'm just spitting out random questions. We have a list we teach, but you're basically just reflecting on the year. And by the way, we do this daily, weekly, and monthly and quarterly in our programs. So you've got all the data from that in one place. But if you've never done this before, you're going to see a lot of stuff come out of you. We have about 80,000 thoughts a day. We're not aware of most of them. You just write all these things down, and you take yourself out of the weeds and into this 30,000 foot view, and you're like, oh my God, clarity. Oh my God, I'm slowing down, but I'm going to go faster. And that's something most of us don't do. We just drink and be merry. Drink and be merry, but you got to make time to reflect. You can only see so much when you're stuck on a desert island, but if you're at the top of the Empire State Building, you can see the entire city. Does that make sense? So reflection is key here. You got to make time for it.
It was funny. What was it, Charlie? Last Friday, we got up for dinner with our respective lovely wives, and we had an agenda for the dinner.
I love it.
2022 lessons learned and 2023 goals. And literally we sat around. We may as well have been sitting around a campfire. And we all
I've been debating if we even say this on the podcast.
We have to.
People,
you can't.
Do you know what? I need to let down my attachment of what people think of me. But I'm like, if people hear that we had a dinner party with an agenda and did lessons learned and goals for next year, they're going to be like, freaks.
Where's my invite? That's what I'm asking you. Why was I not there?
Ostracize me more. I could not care less. But I think this is part of that reflection piece, because Charlie, we've had some great wins in 2022, but we've also had our own challenges around sort of what we've learned and everything. But it's having the camaraderie, the people on your team, the people around you that helps that reflective piece to go, yeah, like identify things that you didn't know yourself. And that's why I love having people in the corner, especially like Hazel, my wife, who will sit there and tell me when I do things wrong more often than she tells me the things I do right. But that's good. That's what she's there for. But having that reflective piece with other people as well, I think is one way to make this sort of holiday period even better, because you kind of take them on your journey, but you also plan with them on where they want to get to. They might not be in business, but it's their view of the world.
I tell you what, that was actually one of the best dinner parties we've had. I want to make that amazing. A yearly tradition. It was so enjoyable to do that as a group and motivating, right? I was on a high for days after it in excitement of the next year.
Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into creating wealth inside and outside your business, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.